What should have been a night of celebration in Liverpool turned into something far darker as hundreds of thousands of jubilant fans took to the streets to mark another Premier League victory for Liverpool. Joy turned to horror when a 53-year-old man drove his car into a crowd. A shocking moment that's shaken not just the football world, but communities far beyond. To help us reflect on what this means for the city and the wider football family, we're joined by someone who understands both better than most. A Liverpool legend who lit up Anfield as a teenager and went on to win the Ballon d'Or, the first English player to do so for 20 years. Michael Owen, many thanks for joining us. An absolute pleasure to have you on the show this evening. Michael, when you first heard what happened on Monday night, that a car had driven into crowds celebrating Liverpool's win, what went through your mind at that moment?
Yeah, great to join you. Thank you so much. When I heard the news, it was obviously your mind starts racing. You can't help but think, what was the motive? What's happened? Is everyone safe? Has there been any fatalities? You can't help but think back to other, awful situations in Liverpool's past with different disasters. Obviously, the Heysel Stadium and then Hillsborough, and you can't help, your mind can't help wondering why. And we still sort of await the news really in terms of what exactly happened. And it's such a shame because you want these huge events to go off with great celebration, with great happiness, with great joy. And of course, this headline has dominated it all. So very sad indeed.
And Michael, you know those streets. You've walked them after wins, after really tough games when you're playing for Liverpool. Does it feel personal when something like this actually happens in the place that you've called home for so long?
I suppose it would if there was something sinister about let's call it an attack. As I say, we're still almost guessing as to what it was. The authorities have ruled out any real sort of threat, any real problem. So whether the gentleman involved was, intoxicated, whether he took the wrong turn, whether he panicked, whether he did this on purpose, we're still waiting to find out. But I think they've ruled out some of the some other scenarios, let's say. So that, I don't know. Let's wait and see what comes out of it. But it does just make you rather upset about a great occasion like this that was almost, that has been spoilt really. This has taken all the headlines. Nobody's really sharing pictures of the parade itself. I had family members that were at the parade, and of course, the first thing you do when you hear about it is you phone them. You hear, you want to know that everybody's okay, everybody's safe, and that's the sad thing. It's only sort of a few miles down the road, so yeah, very worrying. But it could have been worse, and hopefully, we find out more, and hopefully there was no real motives, let's say, for what happened on that evening.
Yes, indeed. And Michael, we are hearing from police that the 53-year-old man who was arrested remains in custody, and he was arrested on suspicion of attempted murder, dangerous driving and driving while unfit through drugs. But obviously, of course, we'll find out more details about that, as you do say. But what has been the reaction from your former teammates? Have you been speaking to any of them? What's been the feeling between the members of Liverpool Football Club?
Well, just one of sadness, really, because it should have been a day of celebration. It has been an amazing few weeks. Liverpool have known that they've won the league for some time now, and it's been just the most incredible party from when it was official against Tottenham Hotspur at home to the lifting of the trophy at Anfield on Sunday. It's been a great moment. Remember, Liverpool, last time they won the Premier League, it was during COVID, so they couldn't celebrate with their fans. So the trophy, the Premier League trophy, has never been lifted in front of the fans before. And this was sort of the first time in many, many years that that celebration could take place. That the league winners, I think it was 30 odd years ago or something, that Liverpool have managed to lift the league trophy in front of their fans. So it was a joyous occasion. And I think as soon as it happened, like normal, like our communication nowadays entails, that messages go round. Have you seen the news? Have you heard the news? Keep me informed. We're all on sort of WhatsApp groups and chats and things like that. So one of shock to start with, and then of course you get your head around it and you try to understand, and then you want to know more details, whether any motives, that anybody, any fatalities or anybody badly injured. And you think about your own family being there, etc., etc. So I think just a state of panic really for the first hour or so, until it all calms down a little bit. And that was the chain of events. And as I say, you can't help but think, Liverpool as a city have been, so robust over time. They come together, as I've mentioned, two horrific footballing disasters. There was a huge attack as well on the outskirts of Liverpool in the north, in the Southport area, not so long ago, on a lot of young children, and that was just one of the most horrific times as well for the area. So it was almost, please, not another one. And thankfully, fingers crossed, it sounds like it's not as bad as, let's say, we first feared. So hopefully we can, put this behind us in the future and remember what a great season it was for Liverpool Football Club and all its people.
And Michael, do you think the club or players have a role in helping the community heal after events like this? And how important is it that that kind of leadership is in place?
Well, they do. Absolutely, they do. Football clubs are the heartbeat of virtually every community, every town, every city in the UK. And, they've always been like that. And we thrust our players in front of the cameras a lot of the time. They weren't born to speak in front of the cameras about situations like that, but they hold such, people hold them in such, they revere them and hold them in such high regard, that often we throw our clubs, of the people, the players, the manager, etc., in front of situations like this, and I think that they lead the way, in doing an incredible job. So yes, statements have already come out from the club, from people close to it, the players, the ex-players, etc., all unify in moments like this. And as I say, I'm just hoping initial thoughts, initial news suggest it's not as bad as first feared, and hopefully we can put it behind us quite quickly. But of course, with what's happened in the past, you can understand that the people of Liverpool, originally are in a lot of shock and a lot of horror and worry that everybody's okay. But it seems like that's the case. So hopefully, as I say, we don't have to put it down as another huge moment in the history of the club.
And if you could speak directly to the fans who were there that night, and the ones who went out to celebrate and who've been left shaken, what would you want to say to them?
Well, I mean, it was a night of, or it should have been a night of joy and happiness and celebration that their club has had an incredible season. The Premier League is such a hard, league to play in and a hard one to win. And it all should have been, joy and happiness. Now, that's obviously tainted. These news, the scenes, are all dominating the news as we stand. And of course, football plays second fiddle to the health and well-being of the community. So, I'm sure that once it all settles down, I'm sure when we hear the truth and what happened and whether it was intentional, whether it was a mistake or whatever happened, then it will lay people's, minds at rest maybe. We all know the world we live in. When you gather in crowds nowadays, it can be dangerous. That's the sad state of the world, really. But in general, it was a really happy day, a happy night, tarnished right at the end of it, and hopefully it doesn't tarnish it for the long run. Hopefully we're talking about You know, nobody getting seriously hurt. Hopefully we're talking about the football side of things again, and how the football club brings everybody together. So yes, we're all worried. We were all worried, especially when we first heard the news. But I think a sense of calm now is descending on the city. People will be getting more and more positive again about what's happened over the past season on the football pitch. And of course, we've always got to be wary of things that are almost out of our control in situations like this. But a real shock to the system, let's say. But as I say, don't necessarily want to, go overboard, because, as I say, hopefully the news is a positive bit of news, and that nobody's seriously hurt, and that maybe the attack was not meant to happen, let's say.
And just to finally finish, Michael, is this a wake-up call, not just for fans, but for city officials and clubs, to rethink how they prepare for big moments like this, to make sure this never happens again?
Well, maybe so. I think, it is quite thorough. We've had, lots of celebrations over the last week or so. Crystal Palace won the FA Cup. They had huge celebrations down in London. They went off really, really positive, really safely. Liverpool, of course, winning the league. But you will get, at this time of the year, you'll get celebrations all over the world for, this is the time of the year, really. And of course, everybody's got to be vigilant, especially in this day and age. It's not the first time there's been a parade in the city. I was part of a parade when we won all those trophies back in 2001, and it was just the most incredible day. So, yes, be vigilant. I'm sure the authorities, the police force, and everybody else like that takes these events really seriously. And inevitably something goes wrong, and everybody's got to just have a look at all the measures that we put in place. But I don't think an event like that is going to be stopped in the future, because it's such a joyous moment, and most of the time, 99 times out of 100, it goes off really, really peacefully, and everybody has a great time. So yes, people will look at it, the safety of these types of events, but it was a minor problem here. Hopefully it was a minor problem. Hopefully it turns out to be a minor problem, and we all look forward to sort of celebrating in the future. But yeah, listen, we've all got to be vigilant in these situations. I think the authorities know that more than anybody.
Michael Owen, I remember you winning all of those trophies. How could the world forget? And I just want to say once again, former Liverpool legend there, Michael Owen, thank you so much for joining us and for your thoughts and kind words after what happened yesterday evening during that Liverpool FC parade. Once again, it's been a pleasure to have you on.
My pleasure.